Hi everybody, welcome to eXplorminate's 5 most anticipated 4X games of 2017. Number 5, Dawn of Andromeda. Dawn of Andromeda is a space 4X game done in a format of real-time with pause that is developed by Grey Wolf Entertainment. It's currently on early access and was able to launch into early access on Steam on December 1st of 2016. So this game right now is playable if you want to jump into the early access movement. Now, what separates Dawn of Andromeda from a lot of the other games that could have potentially been on the list is they're really trying to focus on the first X of any 4X, which is the exploration phase. In that phase, you'll be able to encounter various different factions that you're going to be able to play against, but also AI-controlled, let's say, minor factions. These include outlaws, merchants, pirates, and mercenaries. A lot of different things you have to juggle along the way through your diplomacy. If you're going to try to appease them, perhaps use them to your advantage, or you're just going to blast them right out of your space. Also, they're going to be in the game, there will also be anomalies, black holes, and ancient artifacts for you to discover. One of the other major features of Dawn of Andromeda is focusing on making sure that every faction is slightly different than the one that you play before it, a typical asymmetric gameplay. Now that's an oxymoron, but I'll take it. Meaning that every time that you play this game, depending what faction you choose from the beginning, the way that you play the game is going to be slightly different. Additionally, there's an effort to reduce micromanagement by hiring governors for each of your colonies, as well as council members for your empire, who will level up and gain unique traits, offering bonuses like happiness or increased efficiency. Anyway, Dawn of Andromeda is on our list. It's going to be on our radar, and the hope is that the developer plans a second quarter of 2017 release. Number 4. Dominus Galaxia. Dominus Galaxia is being hailed as a deep yet streamlined 4X space strategy game that has a turn-based format. It's an indie game being made by Star Chart Interactive, and it has everything that you're going to need to really enjoy any type of atypical 4X game, including space combat, which has its own space map, which is instant and done on a hex grid type system. It's got ground combat, it's got orbital bombardments, it's got a lot of different features along the way that we would typically see in a 4X game that has been streamlined. Something like there's no colony ships in Dominus Galaxia. It's done in a way that you can use transport ships instead, really reducing that micromanagement of always having to worry about where your colony ships are going and what they're actually doing. The whole idea is to make a great deep space 4X game by streamlining it, but not gutting out all of the meats and potatoes of what makes a really deep, complex game as fun to play. As you can see from the graphics, they are definitely a throwback to the late 90s type of genre. It's got a very retro feel with a lot of new age ideas. It also has a very deep ship design, a huge and randomized tech tree, and interesting races. As it stands right now, Dominus Galaxia is in a beta state. I do know that the developer is working hard on getting the AI implemented at this point, which means that all of the major features are in place so the AI can start utilizing it. You can expect Dominus Galaxia to launch sometime in 2017. Number 3. Oriental Empires. Oriental Empires breaks the mold by making a more historical 4X turn-based strategy game that's based out of ancient China, where you play as one of the factions that try to unify China into one solid country, and hopefully you're the leader for it. It's being developed by Shining Pixel Studio and is currently available in early access by as of September 20th, 2016. Now you play as one of the factions in China, and by developing your own city and in and around the land, and of course expanding your empire across the land either through diplomacy or by battle, your hope is to basically own all of conquer all of China and make it your own. It takes place historically about 1500 BC all the way to 1500 AD. It has a lot of maps that are more very historically accurate to the time, and you can also play randomized maps. It offers both single and multiplayer support, and is really a throw. It looks and plays very much like a Civilization game, but with a more true and historical, a more accurate twist to it. Oriental Empires boasts having massive battles with different armies being able to engage on the actual game map, so no specialized map just for combat. On the game map, with not just hundreds but even thousands of different troops being able to flank and use different types of artillery, let's say, you know, like arrows or something to that effect, and being able all to do that in the main screen. Really kind of breaking the mold away from the Civilization, which has been it's similar, it shares similarities to, into its own genre. Now you can expect Oriental Empires to be launching its full release sometime in the first quarter of 2017. Number 2, Stars in Shadow. Star in Shadow is an indie game being developed by Ashtar Games. It launched in early access on Steam on September 20th, 2016. Now this game is a game that I personally really enjoyed last year. I was able to make a Let's Try of it during its early access iterations, and the best way I could possibly describe it is a 4X light with super heavy and deep, complex and enjoyable combat. Everything about this game, in terms of its city building, its exploration phase, its diplomacy, is all based around a very excellent and deep combat system. As you can see on the screen in front of you, it is a turn-based system, very reminiscent to the older games like Master of Orion 2. In fact, the whole art and aesthetic of the entire game is based around older school 60s. Every part of every hull that you have in this game is going to be able to be customized with different types of weapon loadouts, support modules, armors, everything that you could possibly think of. Not only that, but every one of the 7 races might have their own unique type of hull that you're going to be able to customize to suit the type of battle system that you want and to exploit against the one of the different factions. There's also pirates and splinter factions that you'll find along the way that you're going to have to deal with either diplomatically, but let's face it, in a game that has so much fun when you have the combat, you're going to want to take them out the old school way. Stars and Shadows also has a ground combat element, which is a little bit more on the lighter side, but it's still implemented and you can use it to enhance your strategy and enjoy a complete domination victory. Now, Star and Shadow will be coming out in the 3rd or 4th quarter of 2017. My suggestion is that you keep your eye on this gem because you will not be disappointed. And number 1, Endless Space 2. Endless Space 2 is a space 4X turn-based strategy game being developed by Amplitude Studios. Now, these are the same developers of the critically acclaimed Endless Space and Endless Legends, 2 games that are considered the top tier of 4X gaming. What makes the Endless series so great is probably the lore that surrounds the entire series in itself. It's always been one of its strengths, and it's going to be even more expanded upon in the sequel of Endless Space 2. Every one of the factions that you get to play is very different from the one next to it. In fact, so much so that the way that you have to play the game is so drastically different that 2 games being played with different factions can play out entirely different. Not to mention the fact that Amplitude has done a great job of trying to make sure that things like interesting races, diplomacy, factions are all focused upon very heavily in trying to dominate or find your way to one of the many victory conditions. There's always a deep and rich resource trading system when it comes to the Endless series, and this is going to be no different. Endless Space 2 comes with a marketplace system very reminiscent to Endless Legend that will create difficult decisions in terms of being able to colonize versus being able to choose a specific resource. The tech tree is amazing. The graphics and production value in general are always top-notch. In fact, it has always been said, this is my personal opinion, is that the Endless series always ends up having some of the best music in 4X, which is something to be heralded. The only drawback to Endless Space 2 is its combat system is taking some tweaks and turns as it stands right now. It has always been one of the things that has been very criticized from the community to Amplitude Studios, but we do know that there are changes along the way that could really spice it up and make combat very interesting. There is no current release date being scheduled for Endless Space 2, but it is in early access, so keep your eye on it in 2017. Hey, that's our list here at eXplorminate for the 5 most anticipated 4X games of 2017. Do you agree with our list? Is there a game that's missing that you think that should have been on it? Fire a comment into the section below, and if you like this video, guys, give it a little bit of a comment. Let us know what we're doing right or doing wrong. A thumbs up would be great. Want to thank everybody for a great year 2016, and we can't wait to see what's in store for 2017. This is Army P, and I'll see you next time.